This conference will now be recorded.
So in the previous session, we have discussed about the profiles, and we have discussed what exactly the profiles and what is the use and how to grant the permissions through with the help of profiles to the people and the various features we have discussed. Now let's see the continuation of these features, and then so now we'll see some more features which we can grant through the profiles. By using these profiles, we can able to indicate what session settings to be applicable for each and every user. For every user, what session settings to be get applicable, we can able to decide with the help of this profile itself. Then what do you mean by these session settings? Now let's see practically in this case. So now let's see, so what exactly the session settings and how can we verify the session settings? Now let's see practically in this case. Now, so in this case, for example, basically session is nothing but the time duration between the login and the logout. Session is nothing but the time duration between the login and the logout. That means from logging into that application, okay, after logging into that application, so now whenever the user is using this application, how long time the session will be in idle state. So how long time the session will be in idle state, we can able to indicate with the help of this session settings. Now, now, so in this case, we can verify that. So now how long time the session will be in an idle state. That means after logging into your application, upon using that, okay, upon using that, so now how long time the session will be in idle state. That means here, how long time the session memory will be available inside that server. If the user did not make any request, then automatically session will be getting expired. Like for example, let me explain a general scenario. Assume that I'm using my Gmail application. I'm using my Gmail application. So I have logged into the Gmail application at 10:30 a.m. in the morning. Since 10:30 till 12 o'clock, I have accessed this application. So at 12 o'clock, I got a call. Okay, at 12 o'clock, I got a call. So at 12:01 p.m., I went outside. Okay, I'm attending the call. For how long time I have attended the call? For 2 hours. So by 2 p.m. I came back, and then when I click on the link, when I click on the inbox, what will happen? It will be indicating that. So now it will be redirecting you to the login screen. Okay, it will redirecting you to that login screen. That means we have to log in into the application again. Why? Because is whatever the session is available, whatever the session has been allocated for you, that session has been expired. because how long time that session memory will be in idle state. So that generally when you go to that application, so okay, when you go to the applications, they are indicating that session memory will be maximum of some 20 minutes. But that too, that is depends upon the application. When you go to the bank, for example, when you go to the bank application, for example, I'm accessing that online bank application. So now I got a call, I'm attending the call right now. So within some 2 minutes or 1 minute maximum, your session will be getting expired. Your session will get expired over there. If you did not perform any operation, automatically session will be getting expired. Let me show you practically in this case. For example, I'm logging into my ICICI Bank application. I'm logging into my ICICI Bank application. I'm indicating my user ID in the password. So I have logged into my ICICI Bank application over there. For example, I would like to transfer the amount to a specific person. Okay, I want to transfer the amount to a specific person. So that here I'm going to be indicating this. Okay, funded transfer. So now I'm leaving this user interface as it is. Okay, I'm not touching anything because, for example, I got a call. I'm attending the call over here. So now I will wait for 5 minutes. That means I will be attending the call for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, when you came back to this particular user interface, what will happen? It will ask you to redirect. It will be ask you to re-log into the application. That means what? So whenever you are logging into the application, from that login time period, then Salesforce is going to be keep on tracking that to which time you have access that application. From there, whatever the idle state is available, you did not make any request, that idle state will be calculating by Salesforce. So now for every application, there will be some idle state that is called as session, session memory. So that session memory will be getting expired once a specified time period is over. When you go to the banking applications, especially for the banking application, session timer will be very, very less time, like as 1 minute, 30 seconds, 2 minutes max, not more than that. So after that 1 minute, okay, when you try to access that application, it will be asking you to re-log into the application again. Even though the mobile applications also, even though when you go to the ATM centers also, so now we have to perform these operations very fastly. Okay, we have to perform that operations very fastly. If you're giving some time by attending the call, automatically session will be getting expired. You have to swipe the card again over here. So these kind of features are called as session settings. That means how long time your session will be in idle state. Once the specified time period is over, automatically the session will be getting expired. It will ask you to re-log into the application again. Okay, it will ask you to re-log into the application again over here. So for that one, we can specify, so what will be the session settings to be get applicable that we can indicate. So now Salesforce is giving the session settings option inside the profile level. When you go to that user's profile, there we can able to see that information as well. Now, so let's go to that user. Go to the development user. Open his profile. This is the CIS Salesforce profile. Here you will be having an option called as session settings. Now, click on this edit button. When you come down, you will be having an option called as session settings option. You will be having an option called as session settings option is available. So when you come down here, we can verify this session settings. Session will be getting expired when? So when the session has to be get expired, we can specify. Session times out after when? We can specify 2 hours of inactivity, nothing but 2 hours of idle state. Or else you can specify 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours of inactivity. So that here the session will be getting expired after this 15 minutes or 30 minutes or 1 hour, 2 hours or whatever. Depends upon your requirement. Now, so in this case, we can specify the session settings also. So now, how long time the session will be getting available? So when the session has to be get expired, we can specify that session time period also with the help of this session settings. Next. The next one is password policies. What exactly the password policies? Now let me explain over here. So password policies in the sense what here, whenever you are going to be utilizing the banking application, for every 45 days or for every 90 days, the banking application is reminding you, please change your password. When you go to your Salesforce also, okay, when you go to your Salesforce also, for every 3 months, Salesforce asks you to change your password. Okay, we have to change the password for every 3 months. Now, so now here in this case, what we can do, whenever I'm going to be utilizing my application for every some specific frequent period of time, we need to change our password. Why? Because for the confidentiality. Okay, for the confidentiality, we have to change our password frequently. Now, so in this case, we can specify here what password policies to be get applicable for these users. Now, in this case, upon changing the password, for which time period you want to change the password, we can set over there. Upon changing that password, how many number of characters the password should have minimum? Okay, we can specify here. The first one we can specify the time interval. That means how frequently password has to be get changed. We can specify that. Second one we can specify the password minimum length. That means how many number of characters should be get available for the password. We can specify. And then password complexity requirement. Password complexity requirements. So what do you mean by password complexity requirements? Complexity requirements in the sense whenever you are changing the password, so what kind of characters you need to enter in the password? Like you have to enter only alphabetical characters or only numericals or combination of alphabetical characters and the numerical and special characters, combination of uppercase, lowercase letters and then numerical values, or what kind of complexity requirements you need to maintain? Because to maintain the password as strong, to maintain the password strong, we have to indicate the password complexity requirements. And so then we can able to specify that here. So what is that number of invalid items? Number of invalid items. So number of invalid items means what here? So now how many times we can able to try with the wrong password? Whenever you are logging into the application, okay, whenever if you want to log in into the application, how many times we can able to try to log in into the application? Okay, how many times we can try to log in into the application? We can indicate that. So now with invalid password, how many times we can able to try that we can able to indicate with the help of this the password policies. And then after that, whenever I'm changing the password, how many passwords it has to be get remembered over here? The number of passwords to be get remembered. Remember. That means what? Whenever we are going to changing the password, sometimes you will be getting some requirements. Your new password should not be equals to the previous 3 passwords. Like that here, Salesforce is having the capability to remember the previous 24 passwords. That means your new password should not be equals to the previous 24 passwords. Okay, so your password need not to be Same like as the previous 24 passwords here. That possibility is available to you. So in this case here, we can able to specify. Okay, we can able to specify that. So now how many passwords it can able to remember over here? So now here number of passwords to be get remembered. We can able to specify that option also. How many number of passwords has to be get remembered, we can able to indicate. Suppose for example, when you try to log in into the application with wrong password more than the specified limit, then how long time the application has to be get in inactive status. Like for example, when you go to your bank account, no. So now we can specify that whenever we are going to be utilizing the bank ATM center, if I'm using the PIN number 3 times wrong, then automatically my account will be locked out for the next 24 hours. After 24 hours, automatically account will be getting released from the locking state. Like the similar way here also, whenever I'm going to be using this Salesforce application, so if I try with the wrong password for more than the specified attempts, then how long time account will be in locking state? That we can specify that here. So now we can able to specify the inactivity time period. Inactivity time period. So these all these options we can able to specify as part of password policy section. So as part of this password policy section, we can able to specify all these options over here. We can specify the time interval also, and then for how many days, okay, for every how many days we need to change the password. So what is the password minimum length, password complexity requirements, that means what kind of characters to be get used upon changing the password, upon giving the new passwords, and the number of invalid attempts and how many wrong attempts we can able to try to log into the application with the wrong passwords, number of passwords remembered, and we can able to indicate that. So whenever I'm going to be changing the password, okay, then how many password the Salesforce can remember over here. And then inactivity time period, that means whenever I'm going to be trying to be logging into the application more than the specified times, okay, with the invalid items, and how long time the application will be in the inactivity state, everything we can able to specify. Now, so now let's see in this case here what we can do. Okay, now let's see what we can do in this case. How can we specify this option? So when you go to the password policies option, we can able to specify user passwords expires in. That means what, for each and every how long time the password has to be get expired. We can specify either for every 30 days, we can enforce the people to change the password. For every 60 days, 90 days, 180 days, 1 year, never expires. These are the various options are available. So now, for example, when you go to the Gmail application, now tell me, have you ever faced a problem with the Gmail which will be enforcing you to change the password? No, Gmail never asks you to change the password, because whatever the password that were given, okay, upon creating the Gmail account, the same password we can continue till the entire lifetime also, no problem. Gmail won't ask you to change the password, because there also here we have the option called as never expires. That means password will not be getting expired. We can continue to use the same password, okay, lifelong also. Next. N4 password history. That means here how many passwords it can able to remember. So now whenever I'm going to be indicating the passwords, whenever I'm changing the password, so it is indicating that, so now my new password should not be equal to the previous 3 passwords. Like the similar way, we can indicate that how many passwords it can able to remember. So now here we are having that no password remembered, nothing but here we can able to use the same password also next time upon changing. Or else 1 password remembered, 2 password remembered, like that it will be able to remember up to maximum 24 passwords. That means what, upon changing the password of your Salesforce account for this profile user, this your new password should not be equal to the previous 24 passwords. So now whenever we are going to be giving the new password, how many number of characters should be available in the password minimum? What is the minimum number of characters to be get available inside your password? That we can specify like as 8 characters. Minimum password length should be 8 characters. Password complexity requirement. That means here upon giving the new password, what kind of characters we need to use. It is indicating no restriction. That means we can give anything. Must include alpha and numerical characters. Must include alphabetical characters, numerical values, and then special characters. You can include that numbers and uppercase and lowercase. You can include numbers, uppercase and lowercase letters, and special characters also. Like that, we can able to specify the password complexity requirements to indicate that, so to make that password strong. Next. So maximum invalid login attempt. That means how many times you can able to try to log in into the application with the wrong password, maximum. So we can indicate that 10 times over here, or else you can indicate 3 or 5 or 10 or no limit. Depends upon your application requirement. Generally, when you go to that bank, some banks will be offering 3 times, some banks are offering 5 times. Not more than that. But here we can indicate that. So now lockout effective period. That means what here, whenever I'm going to be trying to be logging into the application with wrong password more than 10 times, when I try it the 11th time, automatically my account will be getting locked. For how long time? For 15 minutes, the account will be getting locked out. It will be indicating the options to you. 15 minutes or 30 minutes, 60 minutes or forever. Suppose if I'm setting like as forever, then how can we reset the password? Then we have to make a call to the system administrator, or you have to send an email notification to the Salesforce administrator. My account has been locked because of that wrong password I have entered multiple times more than the specified limit. So please reset my account password. Then he will go to the reset password option. He can reset the password for your account. Till that administrator is resetting the password, you can't change that password. Like that here, you will be having the various options are available. So all these password policies also we can able to specify as part of your profile settings. And next one we can specify that what Apex classes the user can invoke. So what are all the various Apex classes the user can invoke that we can specify by using that option called as enabled Apex classes access. When you come down, of the settings sections, when you come down, you will be having a section called as enabled Apex classes access. That means what Apex classes this profile user can access. So whatever the Apex classes that were implemented, all the Apex classes will not be accessible by the customers. So for the particular customer, we can grant access on some specific Apex classes over there. So at that time, we can able to grant what Apex classes this user can access. We can able to indicate over here. And then, like the similar way, what Visualforce pages this user can access, we can indicate with the help of this enabled Visualforce page access. By using these settings, we can able to specify what Visualforce pages this user can access. We can able to indicate that. Like the similar way, we can specify the login IP ranges also. So what exactly the login IP ranges? Now, let's see. This is the most important feature. Now, in this case, login IP ranges means what? Suppose, for example, assume that, come to a general scenario. Assume that I'm a bank employee. Okay, I'm a bank employee, like as a cashier. So every day I'm going to the bank in the morning time, because some 10 o'clock, my bank timings. I will access the bank application, and I'm going to be accessing the bank application till the bank hours, like as evening some 6 o'clock. So every day I'm going to the bank, and then I'm going to be giving the services to my customers. Now, for example, tell me today I'm not feeling good. As a bank employee, today I'm not feeling good. So can I take work from home option today? So can I inform to a manager, so today I'm not feeling well, and then so I would like to take the work from home. So please send all the customer to my home so that I will perform the bank transaction. No. Why? Because you can't access that bank application from outside. Outside of the bank branch, outside of the bank network, you can't access the bank application, even though you are a bank manager also. Even though you are a bank manager also, you can't perform this kind of operations. Even though you are a bank manager, you can't perform this kind of operations over there. So why? Because my bank application has been designed in such a way. My bank application has been designed in such a way that application can't accessible outside of the bank branch. So when coming to the each and every bank, they will be having the bank network. There is a LAN network is available. Within that bank network only you can access that bank application. Outside of that bank network, you can't access. Outside of the bank network, we can't access that application. That's how they are going to restricting that. No. So outside of this bank network, we can't access that bank application because here they have restricted that. Because if the application is accessible from the outside, then the people might be misutilizing that. They may be hacking that. So for that reason, bank network is a very, very restricted network. Okay, other people can't hack, other people can't enter into that bank network. That's what here we are purely restricting that application can be accessible within the bank network only. Like the similar way, so whatever the Salesforce application that you are developing right now, okay, whatever the Salesforce application that you are developing right now, that Salesforce application also we can able to restrict to access within the specific organization, within my network only, within my LAN network only, within my lab only, within my company only, within my room only, I can able to access this. We can restrict like that. That possibility is there. Because by using Salesforce, we can develop some banking applications, finance application, insurance application, any kind of application we can develop. The possibility is available. So for that reason here, so whatever the Salesforce functionalities are available, we can able to restrict to access within the specific network only. For that reason, Salesforce has given that option called as we can able to access the application within the specific network with the help of a feature called as login IP ranges. That means what each and every system can be accessible by using a unique IP address. So that here, by using this IP ranges only, we can able to access this application also. That facility is available. Next. So now login hours also. That means here by using this Salesforce profile feature, we can restrict the application to be accessible during the specific time period itself. During the specific timings, only the bank application can be accessible. We can restrict like that. That means what? So whatever the bank application is available or whatever the Salesforce application is there, we can restrict to be accessible between the specific time period only. That means morning this time to evening this time only, we can access that. That possibility is available. Like when you go to the bank application can be accessible from morning 10:30 to evening 6 o'clock only. After that, they can't access. For example, I'm a bank manager. Since the 3 days I'm in vacation, I'm in leave because of some health issues. So much work is in pending. So today I want to go to the bank by morning at 7 o'clock. My bank timing is morning 10:30. Okay, 10:30 to evening 6. But today I want to go to the bank morning at 7 o'clock and I want to complete some of my pending tasks. Is it possible? No. Why? Because even though I'm in last 1 week in vacation, last 1 week I'm in leave. So even though so much task is in pending, I can't go to the bank morning at 7 o'clock. Why? Because even though when I go to the bank, I can't access the bank application. Because bank application can be accessible from morning 10:30 only. 10:30 to 6 o'clock we can access that. After that we can't access. Because the application has been restricted in such a way that application can be accessible during some specific hours only. During some specific time periods only we can able to access that bank application. That possibility is available to you. Like for example, whenever if you want to reserve some train tickets for the Tatkal facility will be starting from morning some 10:30 only. For the AC reservation, morning 10:30 onwards. For the normal reservation, after 11 o'clock onwards. Before that, we can't access. That means that feature can be accessible from that particular time period only. Like the similar way, here also we can able to restrict that Salesforce application by using that specific IP ranges also, by using this login hours also. So then how can we specify the login hours? Now let's see practically. For example, let's go to that login IP ranges and the login hours. Go to this login hours option of the profile, click on edit. So now we can indicate that here from which time to which time the user can access. So on Sunday, what timings here? Now in this case, Sunday, I don't want to allow the user to access my application. And then on Monday, I want to allow the users to access my application morning at 9 o'clock to evening at 6 o'clock. And then Tuesday also, okay, morning at 9 o'clock to evening at 6 o'clock. Wednesday also, morning at 9 o'clock to evening at 6 o'clock. Thursday, morning at 9 o'clock to evening 6 o'clock. Friday, morning at 9 o'clock to evening 6 o'clock. Saturday, morning at 9 o'clock to afternoon at 1 o'clock. Afternoon at 1 o'clock. Like that. Because, for example, Saturday is a half day. So at that time, what I want to do, I want to make it as it will be accessible up to 1 o'clock. Like that depends upon your requirement, we can able to restrict the application. By using the profile, by using that login hours, we can restrict the Salesforce application can be accessible during that specific time periods only. Morning this time to evening this time we can able to access. Sunday during this time, Saturday during this time we can able to restrict that. That possibility is available. All these functionalities, all these security features we can able to configure, okay, as part of this profiles. These are the various options we can able to configure as part of profiles. Okay, now here you will be having a common question in the interview point of view. Now, for example, assume that my application has been restricted to access from morning at 9 o'clock to evening at 6 o'clock. My Salesforce application has been restricted to access the application from morning 9 o'clock to evening 6 o'clock. Now, for example, as usual, today morning at 9 o'clock, I came to the office. Okay, I came to the office. I have accessed the application till 1 o'clock. And then what 1 a.m. okay 1 p.m. I went to that lunch. I went for the lunch. I came back by 2 o'clock. I have started logging. I have started accessing the application. Okay, from 2 o'clock onwards. At 4 o'clock, I went for a tea break. I came back by 4:30. Okay, 4:30 p.m. I came back and I have logged into the application. And then from there, I keep on accessing the application. Now the time is 6 p.m. What will happen in this? Now the time is 6 p.m. In my profile, they have configured that login hours should be 9 to 6. But now the time is 6 p.m. I did not look into the clock. Still, I'm working on that. I'm in the middle of something. But now the time is 6 p.m. Then what will happen? Will Salesforce will allow you to continue to access the application? Or will Salesforce will be logging out from the application over there?
No. Automatically log out, sir.
In this case, even though okay the time is 6 p.m., it will continue to allow to access the application. Okay, you can able to continue to access the application. Okay, continue to access the application. And in this case, the problem is okay. In this case, the problem is after 6 o'clock, DML operations will be getting triggered. That means from 6 o'clock onwards, also you can continue to access the application. Okay, you can continue to access the application, but DML operations will be getting prevented. That means you can't insert any records, you can't update any records, you can't delete any records, you can't delete any records. That's nothing. Simply we can fetch the records. That's it. Only you can retrieve the record from the database. We can generate some reports. After 6 o'clock, okay, DML operations will be getting prevented. That's what here, even though when you go to the bank, even though the bank is working till 6, so but they will be cancelling that will they will be okay, they're not going to be allowing that any transaction after 4 o'clock. Evening after 4 o'clock, they won't allow any transaction. Why? Because here they can access the application till 6, but after 4 o'clock, the bank application will go in the read-only state. Simply they can get the data from the table, they can generate some reports, that's it. But they can't insert, they can't update, they can't delete, they can't perform any DML operations. Here also, once a specified time period is over, automatically Salesforce is going to be preventing the DML operation. You can continue to access. For example, I have logged out from this application at 6:30 p.m. At 6:30 p.m., I have logged out from the application. Then again, I came back by 6:45. 6:45 p.m. I'm trying to log in here. Now what will happen? Can I log in into the application now? No. Why? Because the time 6:45 is outside of these hours. Okay. After 6 o'clock, you can't log into the application again. Suppose if you're using the application since 5 o'clock, 5:30 or 5:45, we can continue to access the application. But once you logged out, you can't log in again over here after 6 o'clock. This is what the functionality will happen. This is a common question in every interview. It's a common question. My application's login hours has been restricted with the the profile with 9 o'clock to evening 6 o'clock, and then I'm working on the application. I'm in the middle of something. Now the time is 6 o'clock. What will happen? Even though the time is 6 o'clock, it won't give any prompt message to you. Boss, you are going to be ending up your session. You are reaching to the 6 o'clock. Okay, please sign out. It won't give any message. It will allow you to continue to access the application. But after 6 o'clock, DML operations will be getting prevented. And once the 6 o'clock is over, then you can't re-log in the application again. After 6 o'clock, once you log out, then you can't re-log in into the application again. That is the problem.
But we can edit and create and do everything, right, sir?
Sorry?
But we can edit the application and do everything, right? Even after 6?
After 6, you can't create any record. You can't create, you can't modify, you can't delete, you can't perform any DML operations.
Just
read only. Read only operation. That means that we can able to generate the reports. That's what here when you go to the bank, after 4 o'clock, they will start generating the reports. Like today, how many customers has visited, how many deposits they have made, and then how many withdrawals they have made, how many loans we have disbursed today. Everything they will be generating some reportings so that they can send these reports to that higher official. So that here, after 4 o'clock, they will be stopped that all the transaction postings. Okay, they won't allow any transactions.
Got it.
Okay. No. Yes.
I'm generating reports till 9 o'clock. Can I get any?
You can continue to access the application, but after 6 o'clock, you can't log in the application again. After 6 o'clock, once you log out, then you can't log in again. Even though you are generating reports, also it won't allow. After 6 o'clock, you can't log in. Suppose before 6 o'clock, if you're accessing the application, you can continue to access till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock also, no problem. But once that particular time period is over, after that, you can't log in that application again.
Okay.
Okay. So this is how we can able to restrict the features also as part of your profiles. So all these features we can able to restrict over. These are the various features we can able to restrict with the help of profiles. We can grant the permissions and we can restrict the permissions also. Okay.
Now, sir, I have a question, sir.
There was some other setting in the session setting. What was that? There were two
Sorry?
settings in the session setting. There were two settings in the session setting. First was for the time and second was, I don't remember that.
No.
Session timings.
No. Session times out after. That means whatever the session time is available, that will be getting. So we can specify after how long time the session will be getting expired. Then session security level required at login. That means what? Whenever if you are going to be logging into the application second time, that means once the session is expired, if you're logging into the application, will it be requires any OTP? Will it be requires any additional security levels are required or not? That we can able to specify over here. So if you are giving some high assurance, it will be asking you to specify the OTP. Compulsorily, we have to specify the OTP. Through that OTP only we can log into that application.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir, can you please go to the password policies?
Yes.
So here, once we put for forever, sir, as the admin, we are the one who set all these things, sir.
Yes, the admin is going to be setting all these things.
So once we put forever, so it must reset by the admin. It says must.
Which one?
Log out effective period. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So to whom we have to contact, sir? As the admin,
Salesforce administrator. You have to contact the Salesforce administrator. Suppose if you are the administrator, then we have to contact Salesforce support team. Okay. We have to contact Salesforce support team. Then only those people are going to be resetting your password.
Okay.
If you are a normal end user, we can contact the Salesforce administrator and then they will be resetting your password.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, how can we arrange the IP ranges, sir?
So we have to configure that IP ranges will be configuring by the network admin people, because LAN networks and everything will be configuring by the network administrator people. We have to collect that IP range of that our organization or our branch or our department, and then based on that we have to configure inside your Salesforce instance. Network ranges and then IP ranges, routers configuration, LAN network configuration, everything will be done by the network administrator people. Those people will provide that IP range, just we have to configure inside the profile. Starting
Yeah.
IP range, ending IP range, we have to configure.
Here, how can we configure?
In this case, when you go to the login IP ranges, we have to specify the starting IP address of that network, ending IP address of that network. Here we have to configure.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Now, the next one is permission sets. So what exactly the permission set and what is the use? Now let's see practically in this case. Now, suppose for example, assume that for example, I have an organization. So this is my organization. For example, this is my Salesforce.com organization. Now, in my organization, I'm having 3 licenses. I'm having 3 licenses. I'm having 3 licenses are available inside my organization. So I have created a profile. I have created a profile with that associated license. This is the profile which I have configured. I have created a profile. And then, so now here I have created 3 users with these 3 licenses. What are the 3 licenses are available? With these 3 licenses, I have created 3 users. Here is the second user, here is the third user. For all these 3 users, I have assigned the same profile. So now this is the profile I have created, okay, with this particular license type. The same profile I have assigned to all the 3 users. For all the 3 users, I have assigned the same profile. Okay, now. So now inside this profile, okay, for this account object, inside the profile level, I have granted the permission over here. For the account object, I have granted create, read permission, I have granted here. Okay, create and read permission. So this is the user 1, this is the user 2, this is the user 3. 3 users are available. So now tell me, whenever I'm going to be granting the create permission and the read permission on the account object, then all these users will be getting the same permissions, right? Yes. Because all the 3 users are belongs to the same profile. So whatever the permissions I have granted inside the profile, same permissions will be applicable to user 1 and the user 2 and the user 3. For all the 3 users, same permissions will be getting applicable. Now, so in this case, what happened? This user, okay, user 1 can able to create the account records and he can view the account records also. So for the account object, you will be getting the permissions like as read permission, create permission. And the same permissions are available, okay, for the user 2 also. For the user 3 also, same permissions are available over here. Now my requirement is, okay, now my requirement is for the user 3, I want to grant the permissions, not only the read and the create, I want to grant edit permission, delete permission also. Then how? For the user 3 only, okay, for the user 3 only, I want to grant edit permission and the delete permission addition. Then what we can? Can I do inside the profile level? Like when you go to the profile in the account object, can I do this permission like as edit permission and the delete permission? No. I can't do that. I can't do that. Why? Because is whenever if I'm granting the permission, edit and the delete permission on this profile level, then what will be the profile permission? The same permissions are applicable to user 1, user 2, user 3, all the users. So user 1 also can able to perform all these operations. User 2 also will get all the operations. User 3 also can perform all the operations. But I don't want to do like that. I want to allow these two additional permission only to the user 3. Then what we can do? Only for the user 3, I want to grant only edit and delete permission. In this case, okay, in this case, if you want to grant some additional permission to some specific users, if you want to grant some additional permissions to some specific users inside the profile, then we have to use a feature called as permission sets. So what exactly the permission set? Permission set is a feature which is used to grant some additional permissions to the users based on the application requirement. Why? Because I can't grant this permission inside the profile level. Why? Because is if I'm granting the permissions inside the profile level, then all the same permissions will be applicable to all the users. Whatever the users are there inside my organization, okay, inside who are associating with this profile, everybody will be getting the same permission. So I can't grant the permission through profile level. So at that time, I want to grant the permission specifically to some specific users. Okay, for that reason, we are using the feature called as permission sets. So with the help of these permission sets, we can able to grant the permissions. Okay, by using these permission sets, we can grant the additional permissions to one or more users inside the organization. That facility is available too. So in this case, whenever if you want to grant some additional permissions to the users, then we have to use a feature called as permission sets. Then, so now in this case here, so we have to create a separate permission set, and that permission set we need to assign to the user. Okay, we have to create a separate permission set, and then we have to assign the permission set to the user. Then how to assign these permission sets to the users, we'll see in tomorrow's session. In tomorrow's session, we'll see how can we assign the permission sets to the users, how to create the permission sets, what is the association between user and the permission set, we'll see practically in tomorrow's session. And then along with that, tomorrow I will show you one more option, grant access using hierarchies option. And then we'll see with that one, we'll be completing that security part, and then we'll see that complete overview, like as the high level, okay, security model feature. Suppose if anybody asks in the entry point of view, could you please explain the Salesforce security model? We can't explain all these concepts one by one. We can explain in a short format. How can we explain? I will show you in tomorrow's session. In tomorrow's session, we are going to be discussing permission sets, and we can complete the security part over there. And then from there, we can go with some different concepts. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.